Hey guys, Argent here. So it was requested that I do Avatar The Last Airbender character profiles, so here's number one. Sokka, the meat and sarcasm guy, who gets by far the rawest deal of anyone in the Avatar verse. Why is that? Because he's functionally useless for 90% of the series. In a group that contains some of the greatest prodigies and benders of their generation, and of any generation, to be honest. Toph is probably one of the strongest earthbenders who's ever lived, and Katara is extremely strong too. Despite all that, Sokka doesn't get any special powers. He gets a crappy club and a boomerang, and for the majority of the series, he uses it completely ineffectually. Does he get to do anything else? He occasionally shows some technical aptitude, but once again, this is extremely limited. He makes armor for Appa, which was kind of cool, and I think he built some like blimp or some airship at some point. Um, but rather than like make some kind of cool technical thing, like maybe a gun or like a repeating crossbow or like some special kind of like techie armor, like some steampunk armor. Instead, he just gets to keep using his crappy club, etc. He also gets a raw deal because Sokka's actually really good looking. He just looks like ass with his hair up in the ponytail. The couple times I saw him with his hair down, he actually looks like really good. Um, but he gets stuck with that. He gets stuck with a terrible kind of outfit. He gets stuck with by far the worst weapons and the most irrelevant role of anyone on the team, etc. And he's kind of actually the smartest member of the team, but he's relegated to being comic relief and doing less than pretty much anyone else in the series. Even Suki's a better warrior than him, which comes down to Sokka's love interests. Sokka's extremely unlucky with this. The girl that he was in love with, Yui, I think that's her name, Yu or Yui, turns into the moon and dies. Now, a lot of people would say that Sokka was out of his league pursuing her, but what we fail to realize is Sokka is a prince. His father was the leader of the Southern Water Tribe. The Southern Water Tribe is a sovereign nation. I'm sure it's been devastated a bit, but it's still a nation, and his father is basically a king, although they're more of a tribal society, but it doesn't matter. Sokka's effectively a prince, and Yui was the princess of the Northern Water Tribe. So it actually kind of makes sense. If he married her, then their children would inherit both thrones, and there'd be a personal union governing both of them. So that actually kind of made more sense. But Sokka gets no respect. No one really respects him. No one takes him seriously. Despite his supposed high intelligence, he just keeps yelling about how he's a warrior. He makes lame jokes, and he just eats meat. So it's just a waste of a good character, or a potentially good character. There kind of could have been some like interesting contrast between Sokka's kind of scientific knowledge and maybe kind of his more rational knowledge and kind of the magic everyone else can do. The problem is when he finally learns to be an effective fighter, it's really, really late in the series. He finally gets his meteorite sword, which he loses, which is epically lame and just shows how much shit they give him. From what I've read after the series, I haven't watched Legend of Korra. I refuse to watch it. But from looking at the wiki, he doesn't even wind up marrying Suki. He has no children and dies alone, which I don't really get, because of someone of his social standing, and he's a pretty good-looking guy, I don't get why he couldn't get married and have kids. But no, that was just kind of one more disappointment. They could have at least given him someone. They could have at least given him some like unknown Water Tribe woman, but no. Sokka dies alone, much as he lived, kind of unloved, uncreative, living an absolutely dejected life, and it's really really depressing, to be honest. So that's kind of Sokka. Um, in fan fiction, I tend to like to see him with either Azula or Toph. Azula Sokka is normally a really interesting pairing. Because Sokka, you can say what you will about him, but he's extremely determined and he does kind of have a warrior soul, even if he's kind of a tool. So they often have a really kind of interesting antagonistic relationship. There's kind of a lot of raw sexual tension, which is interesting. The way I thought the series was going, though, I thought Toph and Sokka would wind up together because they're both kind of sarcastic. They're both kind of less emotional and more rational compared to Aang and Katara. Toph clearly has a crush on him. I don't know. I just think they'd be kind of like a cute couple. I think they could like cover each other's weaknesses. Toph's weaknesses, even if she is a bit more rational and less emotional, she's impulsive, and Sokka's more cautious. She's kind of more free flowing, and Sokka's a bit more grounded. I think that would have been kind of logical, but for whatever reason, they decided not to do that. And so Sokka gets absolutely nothing. And I kind of feel bad for the guy. Um, it's the only character. No, Zuko somehow gets a good deal despite sucking. But yeah, so that's my character profile of Sokka. A guy I like who just really got a raw deal. This is Argent Templar signing out.